Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Again, we are going to start today our first application on Romanticism, which is supposed to be a solitary reaper. But as you know, one or two of our sisters are going to make a presentation about Arab Romanticism, which is really interesting to show you. So we are going to start with the presentation of the two sisters. Then after that, inshallah, we are going to start the application of the solitary reaper. If anyone who has any kind of participation regarding the solitary reaper or a kind of a sharing, she is most welcome before we start to make her own sharing after the presentation, inshallah. Right? Okay, then, we go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Hadil Ashur and I'm studying educational English, and my friend is
Noor Said, and I'm studying educational English also.
Today our presentation is about the father of Romanticism in the Arabic literature, who is Mustafa Lutfi al-Manfaluti. Noor, tell us about him.
Mustafa Lutfi al-Manfaluti, 1876 and 1924, was an Egyptian writer and poet who wrote many famous Arabic books, and was born in the Upper Egyptian city of Al-Manfaluti to an Egyptian father and Turkish mother. And also he memorized the Quran before the age of 12, and he translated and wrote translated the plays from French, and he translated and wrote several short stories. And his most famous work is a collection of his articles under the title An-Nadarat. And also one of his the most notable traits that he couldn't read or speak French, but he asked some of his friends to translate to Arabic, then he wrote them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And about the most famous books for him is the first one is An-Nazarat, Al-Abarat, Al-Sha'ir, Al-Fadila, and Majdulin. And I give the pictures of these books as you see here. The first one is Al-Abarat, and this one is An-Nazarat, Al-Fadila, Majdulin, and Al-Sha'ir. Noor, but how did he use the Romanticism characteristics in the literary work?
Actually, he used a good way of drafting and beauty rhythm with getting near of leaving the complication and improver's verb. And the most of Al-Manfaluti's poems were moral and educational. And also he depends on raising the feeling of pity and social guilt and responsibility. In addition to that, he used to take care about the people issue in his literary work.
Yeah. Also, he discussed the social life and take it as a source of his inspiration. Also, he called for the contentment and living the beautiful life by helping the people and being kind with the strong and weak humans. Also, he tried to affect on the reader's feelings by leading him to realize what is the message that the writer is trying to convey to the reader. Let's move to the quotations. The first one.
الآن عرفت أن الوجوه مرايا النفوس تضيء بضيائها وتظلم بظلامها. Now I realize that the faces are the mirror of selves. That means when the person is clean inside, when the person is clean from the inside, it appears of his behavior and daily life. And also when he has a bad inside, this gonna to appear in front of the people around him.
Yeah. The second one is من لا يخطئ لا يصيب ومن لا يتعثر لا ينهض. Who doesn't commit mistakes, he couldn't be right. And who doesn't fall down, he couldn't get up. This quotation means that the person who doesn't commit mistakes, he will not be able to learn from the life around him. Also, the person who fell down, he will not be able also to get up and continue his life, because this is the way of the life: committing mistakes and learn from it. Also, falling down and get up. By this way, we can continue our life, and we couldn't stop in any step of our life.
لا أعرف أحدا أن يستطيع أن يرسم لي خطة سعادتي كما أرسمها لنفسي. I don't know anyone who can draw the plan of my happiness as myself. Actually, no one in the life can make you happy as you. If you decide to be happy, you create many things that help you to be happy.
قال بروتوس عندما وقف أمام الجماهير بعد أن طعن رفيق عمره قيصر: ما قتلت قيصر لأني كنت أبغضه بل لأني كنت أحب روما أكثر منه. Protus said when he stands in front of the audience and after he stabbed his best friend Caesar, I didn't kill Caesar because I was hating him. Caesar? Yeah. But because I loved Rome more than him. This quotation means that the love of our homeland leads us to do many things even it's not suitable for our life, even we don't like it. As you see in this quotation, he killed his best friend just because he loved his homeland. So the homeland is the main priorities that should take the first position in our life. So whenever you go, you will pack to your home. So it deserves to do anything about her and deserves to give it anything in your life, even it's so valuable for you. That's all what we could give it about Mustafa Lutfi al-Manfaluti. Forgive us if the information is not enough.
And thank you for listening.
Could give it.
My question is, what is the relation to Romanticism?
Actually we searched a lot about the Romanticism characteristics to both them, but we didn't find anything.
All right.
But
So I
some
will do that
information.
myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, you could have wrote some quotations from his own writings, which explain the principles of Romanticism. This is what I expected and what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
But it seems that you are brought some, quotations which are off the topic. You said nothing about Romanticism.
Actually,
right?
we searched a lot, but we hardly
You could
find
have asked me, right? You could have asked me, and I could provided you with quotations, which show all the principles of the Romantic theory from his own quotes. But anyways, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Well, fine. We are going to start with the solitary reaper. Is there anyone who would like to say anything about the solitary reaper? Any participations? Right. Let's start with the title. We will have an open discussion about this. We have two important romantic features that we can find in the title. Who can guess what are these two romantic principles that we can find in the title of the poem? Yes, please.
The word solitary, it refers to a characteristic of solitude.
Good.
It's one of the most important.
Which is, going back to nature, to live in a solitary state, the state of solitude, right? Which is also in order to have what we call it the pensive moon, that enables someone to recollect his own ideas in tranquility. So solitary is a word which reflects one of the most important characteristics, living in a solitary case like this, right? A state of solitude, right? The second word, which is reaper, lama.
Reaper refers to the country life. So because Reaper means a person who gathers crops and gives to her house, means a countryman or a
Countrywoman. So it reflects that there is glorification of the common man and the common place. That the common man and common place for the first time in history becomes the subject matter of poetry, which this thing was not attainable in the previous literary periods, which used to talk about kings, queens, and the upper class. But we will find that the major topic now is what? Is just a reaper, right? A peasant who is working in the fields. And what she is doing? She's reaping. She's harvesting. She is harvesting the crops. And she is alone. She is alone. Right. One important thing that I would like to say about this poem, that William Wordsworth did not actually see that woman while she was reaping. Yes, please, Noor.
This poem was based on
Good.
not based on this experience. And this is why a lot of people consider it different and unique, because he described the experience of another person.
Right, and what did we call this? We call it a primary imagination. When we said that the poetic experience is not necessarily to be true and real. It's not necessarily to be true and real. It can be imagined. It can be imagined. And as long as the poetic experience, the whole thing is not real but imagined, right? We call this a primary imagination because it didn't happen. But he imagined himself as being the one, right, who lived the experience itself. Well, and therefore, what we can say that this poem starts in a title. This title reflects two important romantic principles, which is the state of solitude and glorification of common man and common place. One important thing that I would like to highlight before starting reading this, which is, right, some people mix up between the solitary state as a state of loneliness, And what we usually say, it is not a state of loneliness. I just said that there is a big difference between the solitary state or a state of solitude and a state of loneliness, right? Instead of calling it a state of loneliness, we call it a state of lonesomeness. A state of what? Of lonesomeness. Do you know what is the difference between the two words loneliness and lonesomeness? Loneliness, right, when you feel that you are lonely even among people, when you are unwanted, when you don't have friends, right, when you don't have people who care about you, you feel lonely, right? Even this can be felt even among people. But the state of lonesomeness, it is a choice of yourself. I mean that you choose to get away from people because you want to be alone. So in this case, right, we call it a feeling of lonesomeness. The solitary, far away from the people, because, right, this is what the person really wants. He wants to be alone. So when we say a state of loneliness is something negative, loneliness negative, and the state of lonesomeness might be a positive thing. A positive thing. Well, fine. The first word here, right, which is capitalized. Behold her. Behold her means look at her. To whom does he talk? Right.
Ourselves to look at her, or he asking himself to look at her.
Good. So we have, right, the address here, it's a direct address, either to be to himself, right, he's asking himself to look at the girl, right, or maybe he is asking the readers as a whole, right, in order to what? To look at her. What is really important? Did he see her first of all? So how come he is asking himself to look at her? Because looking is a function of what? The function of the eyes. Looking is the function of the eyes. But we know that he did not actually see her, right? So what is the romantic function here? Yeah, yes please. Good. When we say that imagination works on the five senses, that you can see by your own imagination and you can smell by your own imagination. So this is one of the romantic functions where that they believe that imagination is superior to the five senses and works on them How many romantic features do we have so far? Right? 4. Right? 4. The state of solitude, right? The common, right, glorification of common man and common place. And we have the primary imagination and the imagination that works over or superior to, right? Superior to the five senses. Single in the field. Right? Look at this. A kind of emphasis again and again. solitary, right? Single. Single here, it means that she is alone. It doesn't mean that she is unmarried, no, but it means that she is alone. Fine. Single in the field. In the field here, what is this? Right. Common place. Right. So in every single word, we will have a romantic feature that it shows itself, right, in the poetry of the Romantics. Young, solitary, Highland lass. What is she? She is a lass, a girl, right? How old is she? She is young, which means she's young. She is young. Where is she from? From the mountains area. From the mountains area. How do I know that she is from the mountains area? From the high land, right? So here says she is a young solitary. So then we have solitary, single and solitary, to emphasize the state of solitude, the state of lonesomeness, the state of lonesomeness. Well, young, solitary, Highland lass, a girl, right? Young girl, alone, from the mountains, from the mountains area, from the mountains area. And what is she doing? She's reaping, right? This one, common, what, that, okay, right? Or common man or woman, right? What are they doing? They are just reaping. And I want you to notice that the writer is moved by something simple. Something simple, which is a woman harvesting, right? Okay? That inspired him to write poetry, which reflects what? The elemental simplicities of life. That he is being moved while he is walking on the what? On the mountains, and there he saw a woman. And what does this woman do? She is harvesting. Something very simple, but he is being inspired and he is moved in order to write poetry. And this reflects what we call it, okay, the elemental simplicities of life. And singing at the same time. Not only reaping, but also singing. Well, okay, we said that the whole action is what? Imagination. So he saw her by his own imagination when he said, behold her. And he also listened to her by his own imagination when he said that she was singing. يعني كبر الإيش. Alright. بتصير الكلمة زلمة. Right? So reaping and singing by herself. By herself again means solitary, means single. Single means solitary. Right? Emphasis on the state of solitude, right? Of someone who is common while working in a common place far away from the people. But he was really inspired. Inspired by what? What he sees or what he hears, right? Actually, he is, right, both. By what he sees and by what he hears. That he is moved by her voice. لك يا وردي ما أحلى صوتها مع إنه ما سمعوش. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. Well, fine. By herself. Stop here. Right, again. This is another command. Another command. What was the first command? Behold her. Look at her. Look at her. It was a command, right? Right, for himself and for the readers to share the experience by their own imagination of looking and listening to her song, right? Well, another command to stop, not to move, to stand still. Do you know why? Because he is being totally moved by the song, and he doesn't want to interrupt her while she is doing what? While she is singing, or otherwise, right, the joy will be interrupted as well. Right? Stop here or gently pass. And if you would like to walk, you have to walk on the tip of your what? Of your right fingers, in order not to what? Not to interrupt her song, in order not to make a noise. Right? Well, alone. صارت أكم مرة عاد عندنا؟ 1 2 right 3 4 5 right? Why do you think he emphasizes this? Because it is really fundamental to the Romantics, this state of solitude. Fundamental, right? A state in which someone can imagine, someone can contemplate about the world. She cuts and binds the grain, right? Now he is describing. What is she doing? She is doing something common to every farmer, right? She is cutting the grain, then binding it into bundles, right? And sings at the same time a melancholy strain. Right? The strain here, it refers to the melody of the song. Melody of the song. Right? Just consider it as it is a reference to the song. The word strain here, it refers to the song. Right? Well, what he says there, that she was working and she was singing, and the song that she was singing, melancholic. Right? It is a sad tone. How does he know that, right? From the tone, the way she sounds, the song sounds what? Sad. We can figure it out, even if it is not in his native language. Even if it is not in Arabic, for example, and you listen to the song, you can identify the song, whether it is sad or right, or whatever, right? Happy. Right? Yeah, you can simply say someone is in grief, and the other one, right, says Duk Galmani. Right? Well, fine. And sings a melancholy strain. Right? Oh, listen. Oh, here it is an expression of what? Right? Of joy, of appreciation. And what do we call this? Expression of a personal feelings, which is a kind of subjectivity. So here, this is, although he has not used the word I and me, but we can say this refers to subjectivity, right? How do I know subjectivity, right? Because the word O is an expression of appreciation, expression of liking, it is exactly like the word the one that we discussed, right, in the poem for Samuel Coleridge, right, when he was feeling the loss of the past. The loss of the past. So, oh, listen, another command. Look at this, commands. Behold, has something to what? Right. Okay, stop here and listen, which is, although we have not seen and we have not heard, not even the poet or the speaker himself, right, saw or heard the girl herself. Right? The veil is profound. Right? Not only me who is feeling the joy, but also the whole valley is feeling, right, high, profound, which is reflecting what? The unity between the elements of nature, right? That she is singing, and the whole valley is also singing, is sharing the joy, of the song, not only the speaker of the poem. And because it feels high, excuse my language for using this term, profound, joy, right? What is happening is overflowing with the sound. And it is also, right, sharing the joy, dancing, and overflowing with the song itself to reflect that, okay, the unity between elements of nature. Who are the elements of nature here that we are talking about? The first one is the woman, the yon, right? Right, the yon solitary highland lass. This is the first one. The second one, the speaker himself, who enjoys the song, and everything in the valley, the animals, the trees, the rocks, and everything is right, feeling the joy because of the beautiful sound. Because of the beautiful sound. Right. Now, we find that this man is having the ability to imagine not only what can be seen, but also what can be heard, right? Then he moves from the primary imagination into a state of secondary imagination, right? And he uses something, what we call it, the romantic imagery. A romantic imagery, right? So the first, another picture that came to his mind when he says, no nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travelers in some shady haunt among Arabian sands, right? The romantic imagery is usually comparing two pictures to each other. Comparing two pictures to each other. The first picture is a natural scene, and the other picture is usually, right, another natural scenes. So romantic imagery is characterized by comparing, right, two natural scenes to each other. So what is the first natural scene that we have here, right? The song, the girl, while she is reaping and she is singing a song, right? We have another natural scene, right? And I will tell you what is common between both of them. Just imagine that we have a group of travelers in the Arabian desert, who have been traveling for a long time, and they became very tired. And all this dream, their dream is to find a place with a shadow, a shady place in which they can sit for or to shelter themselves from the sun itself. Let's say that this group of travelers, while they are walking, at last they found, right, a shady place, a tree, and under the tree there is a big shade. And on the top of this tree there is a nightingale. There is a bird, a singing bird. And it is not a cuckoo bird, for God's sake. Cuckoo bird ديك يعني. هو الديك بيطير فوق الشجرة. Yes, right? There is a cuckoo bird, nightingale. My God, you made me make a mistake, right? A nightingale, and this nightingale is singing a welcome song for these group of travelers who are tired from the traveling into the desert. The song of the girl is much more beautiful than the song of the nightingale, who is singing a welcome song for the group of travelers, right, who are tired from traveling in the Arabian sands. Right? So here a comparison between two pictures. and comparison about what? All right, how sweet the song is. The song of the girl, right, is sweeter than the song of the nightingale, which is in the top of a shady place, singing a welcome song for the group of travelers in the Arabian desert. In the Arabian desert, right? This one we call it exaggeration. We call it what? A romantic exaggeration, hyperbole, right? And therefore, right, this is also a kind of what? A kind of a romantic imagery, but a secondary one. A secondary one. Because already you did not hear the song of the girl. How can you judge that it is sweeter than the song of the nightingale in the middle of the desert? Do you understand what I mean? Right? Okay. So here no nightingale did ever chant. Right? There is no nightingale who has, right, sung a song, right, of welcome notes, of a welcome song, right, for a weary bands, for a tired groups of travelers on the top of a shady place in the middle of the Arabian desert. So this is the first part of what? Of the romantic imagery. Right? We will have another image which is really similar to that one. Right? But not related to the Arabian, right, sense. A voice so thrilling never was heard. So the voice of the girl is a thrilling voice which has never been heard, right, by anyone, even better than the song of the cuckoo bird, right? Never heard in the springtime from the cuckoo bird, while breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Well, the Hebrides, they are a group of far islands in the Atlantic Ocean. نكمل المرة القادمة من ايش؟ من a voice so thrilling إن شاء الله.